Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast. Come on in, the water is fine. One of the things I have been saying on this podcast for 5 years now is that time is the new currency. It is the only non-renewable resource. We can all find ways to earn more cash, but we can't turn back the sands of time. And the fact that we're now days away from March 2021 hammers that point home perfectly. Is the world spinning faster on its axis right now? Or am I just getting older? I once read a theory that when we're younger, our brains take longer to map new locations and new experiences, so it gives the perception that time is going slower. But as you age, and you're probably living in a routine and going through the same things day in, day out, it doesn't need to work as hard. So it gives the illusion that time is going much quicker. So does that mean that if we do nothing but new experiences every single day, we can slow down time? Man, that is a subject for another day, isn't it? But I did recently discover a company called SetSchedule, which is a technology company that's aiming to revolutionize the real estate information business. And I am a sucker for a good prop tech story, and I wanted to learn more about the story behind the company and how SetSchedule's technology is leveraging artificial intelligence and machine learning to provide best predictions in the process of matching consumers with top-rate local pros. So buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to California so we can speak with Roy, who's waiting to speak with us in the US to talk about SetSchedule and much more. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Sure, Neil. Well, first off, thank you for inviting me. And my name is Roy Deco, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of a company named SetSchedule out of Irvine, California. We operate primarily in the United States. We're a technology company that essentially obsesses over addressing challenges and issues in the space of real estate, in the space of residential real estate. And the way we do it is we basically do it through a plethora of basically mobile applications and desktop software that enable real estate consumers and real estate professionals to better connect and better engage together with each other. And ultimately, that's the story of the company.
Fantastic. Now, I am a man of a certain age, and I've somehow convinced myself that the Earth must be spinning on its axis faster than ever because we're already heading into March, and it feels that time is just going so quickly now. And I often say on this podcast that time is, in fact, one of the few non-renewable resources in life because we can all earn more cash or generate more cash and revenue, but we can't get more time back. So can you tell me how you're creating efficiencies using technology to try and tackle that problem?
Sure, absolutely. And I think that the easiest way to explain that is going back to the roots of the name SetSchedule. There's a funny saying that actually I think Bill Gates' assistant said in one of the documentaries on Netflix that she said, Bill has everything that he can financially buy, but he has the same amount of time that everybody else has. So his investment in charity and charitable, giving is very limited, to the time that he can invest in. So essentially, using that foundation or that base understanding, we essentially kind of like understood that concept when we started the company. When my co-founder and I started the company about 5 years ago, we had the intention of actually getting into the real estate sales business, getting into basically the brokerage business where we would hire real estate agents to sell properties for buyers or sellers and buy properties, I should say, with the buyers. And ultimately, we realized that the biggest friction point is aligning the mode and actually scaling the mode of real estate consumers whenever they're ready, whenever they want to talk to a real estate agent, and scaling it and matching it to whenever and however our proposed real estate agent is going to be ready to talk to them. So in simple terms, we saw that the big friction point would be to actually keep our real estate agents busy. And we went into digital marketing and went to different avenues and realized, we can spend a lot of money Revolutionizing, we can try to dominate certain markets through Zillow.com or Realtor.com in the US. And maybe hopefully through those zip codes, we'll be able to get some traction and get a constant flow of leads or constant flow of business data for our agents. And we realize that is something that is a very expensive proposition and lack the predictability of conversion. So we essentially rolled out SetSchedule as a technology company day one with the intention of creating the fastest mode of connection between real estate consumers and real estate professionals. And the rest is history. I mean, that's essentially what the first mobile application represented and does. It serves the real estate agent referral network that we operate with. And the real estate agent referral network is essentially is able to use the app, which we call the Referral Radar, and connect with them. I would say probably within 5 minutes from questioning, or five minutes from a request, and they can do it in an efficiency that is somewhere around 90% more efficient than they would have otherwise without SetSchedule.
And was there anything else that put you on this path and helped the story that would go on to build SetSchedule? Was it that Bill Gates quote that lit the spark in you, or was there something else?
So the spark that what basically led us to ultimately the evolution of SetSchedule was the understanding that salespeople would always be frustrated by the lack of conversion and success when it comes to online leads. We realized that the online leads market, and that was kind of like the primary focus of our business. We knew that we need to buy leads. We knew we need to find new customers, and we knew we wanted to do everything to scale. So we very quickly realized that we spent a lot of time trying to figure out scalability. And the best way to scale is always technology. And technology is the best methods to saving time. It's the best method of managing your nurturing process when you specifically when you focus on business development. So the spark for us was, hold on, I mean, we're spending all this time in building something to scale, and we're going to create software as a tool to support the business operations. Why not everybody and turn it into a technology company, which is a very popular question that my co-founder Rudy Dorner asked me in the first month of us starting to dance together and toying with the idea of establishing a company. So that was kind of like essentially this.
What also stands out when looking at your story is you created a company that uses technology but to disrupt the retail industry and maximize efficiency for both real estate agents and home shoppers. Quite a crossover there, but can you expand on those experiences?
So I like to say that consumers have a certain mode, and by mode I refer to their current timing of interest. And real estate professionals, especially professionals in the space of real estate, that really 80% of them are solopreneurs, if you will. It's the individual Joe that rents a cubicle and pays for a parking spot at his or her brokerage office. So that pro also has a certain mode of interest and frustration or excitement level over constant business development. So SetSchedule basically takes the two. SetSchedule for the core product, again, we call it the Referral Radar, which is part of the mobile and desktop application we offer, basically takes the two and creates basically the mode alignment technology. It's the mode, the interest alignment technology, where we essentially, in a Referral Radar, and I should probably mention that first, we essentially, kind of like the Amazon of real estate, we aggregate a tremendous amount of leads from well-known websites, such as Zillow.com, Realtor.com, Homes.com, Facebook, and others, really track on foreclosure properties, for example. We aggregate that through our partnership with these websites, and it goes into the Referral Radar. Now, the Referral Radar is used daily by the real estate pros. So they know in real time what's available and what's live in a marketplace. With the consumers, we instantly, consistently, and immediately communicate through our smart virtual bot systems, which leverage NLP. And for those of you who don't know what NLP is, it's basically a linguistic analysis that basically is able to react to what the consumer says. Hey, I want to talk to an agent in 5 minutes, for example. And the smart bot, which we call Jessica, is communicating and serving basically the consumers all the way to the point of connection or interest in connection. And once the consumer indicates the desire to connect, we essentially take that, what we refer to in a Referral Radar as a lead, and we turn it into a verified lead. and basically all the way to the point of connection. And through our virtual and audio technology, which we call Set Hello, we're actually facilitating a phone and a video connection instantly, basically enabling an alignment of the mode of interest between the consumers and the pros in a period of less than 5 minutes.
And for people hearing about SetSchedule for the very first time today, and how would you, or if you were sat next to somebody on a plane, I say that, but we don't really get to sit on planes anymore, do we? But how would you explain what it is, who it's aimed at, and ultimately what problems you're solving with this technology?
That's a very good question. Internally, I tell the staff members, what would you say at a bar conversation when the guy next to you is having a glass of tea or coffee or water? And they say, what do you do? What is SetSchedule? So my answer is pretty simple. We are basically a technology company with different digital products that are addressing the key problems in real estate. If you are a home shopper or a consumer, you can go to setvalue.com, and in a period, in an instant of basically 30 seconds, you're able to start engaging with a virtual smart bot that will give you all the answers you need regarding your shopping, your buying, your selling, or your renting experience. That is if you're a real estate consumer, and that's the Set Value property product. On top of that, for consumers, the Set Value proprietary property product, it's basically a property evaluation product, I should say. You're able to get multiple value analysis for your property in real time. And really, essentially, it's a web interface and it's a web-based product that enables consumers to get the information and communicate with the technology and with a local pro instantly. Now, here's the beauty of it and a value add to the consumers. Everything that we do on the professional side is formulaic and based on codes and algorithms that identify the highest, most engaged, best agent in South Alabama on a Tuesday. Meaning that we know in real time the most serious, most committed, most engaged with the best track record agent. And we do it based on track record, history, analysis, engagements, and algorithms that we have through our system in the referral radar. For the pros, I would turn around in the same bar conversation. I would say, go and download the app. The SetSchedule Pro app is essentially a freemium app that you can get from the Apple Store and Android. And when you download it, you create an account and join the agent referral network of SetSchedule. When you join the agent referral network of SetSchedule, first off, it's free. The barrier to enter is extremely easy and simplistic. And when you go to the referral radar inside of the app, you essentially can find your next home buyer or home seller that you're interested in talking to in a period of about 10 seconds or less, if it's available in your specific geolocation. If you're in Los Angeles, you will have everything that's available in Los Angeles. And not only that, there'll be two more components for you as a pro that will benefit you. Number one, you'll be able to look at a plethora of aggregated leads from all of the sources that you know and love. And the second thing is, because it's so economical, all we encourage you to do is to engage and start servicing the consumers very well. And the better you do, the better score you will hit. And you will get more and more connections, more and more Set Hello virtual video calls, and more concierge connections through our Connect infrastructure. And that's what SetSchedule does.
And I'm quite conscious. We started this conversation saying that time is the only non-renewable resource. You shared the experience of Bill Gates there, and it's often referred to as Oprah Winfrey as well, where people always say that Bill Gates and Oprah Winfrey have got the same 24 hours in a day that each of us has. So do you have any use cases that you could share just to help people envision maybe a before and after picture, along with just how much time you could actually save them?
So yes, I mean, obviously our core product is in the real estate residential space with a primary focus of monetizing real estate pros. I mean, our paid clients are essentially real estate agents and team leads and brokers, where the consumers can essentially use either the web interface of setvalue.com, or they can go anywhere that SetSchedule is a partner of, no different than Amazon. You can buy a Sony TV from Amazon, right? So the same thing, you can go to Zillow.com and essentially hit an area where SetSchedule is a primary partner of Zillow. So the point is that before SetSchedule existed, there were a lot of manual ways of nurturing and cultivating leads for the pros. I mean, the pros would have to spend a lot of money in advertising themselves. And then what? After they advertise themselves, they may or may not get a certain lead or basically phone inquiry from whatever publisher or website, as we call them, they're using. Let's say, for example, they spend the money on, let's say, homes.com, and they advertise and they get the form and the lead But then there is the ongoing cadence and communication flow. In other words, the real estate professional, the solopreneurs would have to create a nurturing system, which essentially they don't really have. In the past, we used to have email marketing. I mean, email marketing was the biggest thing in the last, I'd say, 10 years or so. But the evolution of SMS marketing, the evolution of NLP or linguistic technology, or the evolution of obviously the bot systems, all of it enabled for the average solopreneur. And again, I'm not talking about enterprise and I'm not talking about even SMBs. I'm talking about solopreneurs. Now they have the ability to, instead of banking on an email marketing or maybe 3 cold calls, which by the way, 70% of solopreneurs give up after 2 calls. So, and we know that 2 calls are not nearly enough to get the consumer interested in being the mode or getting on the phone and talking to us. Now that we have SetSchedule, essentially we have out-of-the-box solution. We have an out-of-the-box solution, and it's almost like a customized solution, but it's an out-of-the-box solution that enables your average solopreneur and entrepreneur, or an entrepreneur, I should say, to be able to bring this consumer to the mode of conversation. So we're very much a B2B technology, but if we're addressing the consumers and we're kind of putting a mirror to see how we're helping the consumers, ultimately it's very exciting because through the web interface or through a partnership with the Zillows.com of the world, the Realtor.coms of the world, and the RealtyTrack.com of the world, we're actually also enabling to better service those consumers that ask a question on these websites and didn't get an answer from the average Joe agent that didn't have a minute to answer them. Because what if that average Joe agent wasn't showing, right? So now the consumer loses interest, gets annoyed that they don't get the answer, and off they go. And the mode is never aligned between the two. So through the Jessica bot systems, through the SetSchedule Connect, through the concierge services, through the dynamic referral system, and also the scoring and identifying the highly most engaged person on a Tuesday morning, we're able to align the mode in a more efficient way and save people time from chasing each other.
And I'm curious, what kind of feedback have you had from your customers? Do you get to hear many of those stories?
We hear a lot, and that's actually interesting. It's a very, very good story of the podcast because we go through the evolution of happiness and dissatisfaction, or satisfaction and dissatisfaction of consumers, whether they're pro consumers or home shoppers consumers. And it's interesting to see. I mean, the pro consumers in the space of real estate is basically is represented by 3 million license holders, real estate agents, and I believe it's the same thing in the UK and Europe and Israel, where I'm originally from. And the interesting thing is that we, for the first 2 years of the business, we were trying to do what the prosumers, or what the pro, I should say that the pros, the agents, the team leads, what they wanted. And what we thought they wanted is that they wanted leads. And we very quickly realized that what the professionals want is leads, but actually what they need is a mode alignment and connections. So I call it the feedback before and after the evolution of the connect. And when we look at history of leads, who would provide leads, and we would see that agents would be frustrated and refer to leads as bad leads. And I thought to myself, what is a bad lead? If the information is correct and the data is correct, and there was a consumer that at some point in time had an interest in talking to a licensed agent in the US, then what's bad about it, right? What's bad about it is not the lead. What's bad about it is the mode of interest, right? What's bad about it is the mode of connection. So before we roll out the Connect, we would see a certain percentage. I mean, it's still low in presentation in overall relations to the marketplace, but we'd see a certain percent of pros that are just painfully lashing out and complaining about bad leads. When we turn the connections, we actually have seen the carve out of a certain percentage turning into very active users that are extremely ecstatic and became the ambassador of the platform. So yes, those are, I guess, the global ways of explaining the feedback that we've seen in the last couple of years.
Love that. And as someone working in the heart of the industry, is there any technology trends or new developments in the real estate industry and prop tech, etc.? Is there anything that excites you particularly at the moment?
Yes, and actually what we are developing now, and what's what excites me, to be completely self-centered and selfish, but first off, I have all respect in the world to companies such as Zillow that really focus in innovation, in connections, even in the iBuyer world, where they're actually accelerating the process of selling property through instant cash offers. So there are a lot of trends in the iBuy world. I think personally, they're very fickle and very much depend on economic strength. The iBuy, meaning the cash offer, instant internet buyers, or the .com buyers like OfferPad, Open House, and Zillow Offers. I mean, just excited about that, but really, I'm more excited about our core focus, which is basically it still revolves around more efficient sales hunt process. I mean, we don't even call it CRM. We don't call it business development. We call it the sales hunt technology, which we're really putting a lot of focus in. And what we are doing now is we're going to license it out to multiple industries, both in the prop tech and actually fintech. And the idea is that any business that has a constant active sales hunt cycle, right, where they need to manage their funnel, would have the ability to customize their own cadences from a predefined, basically, menu. And, if I'm a mortgage broker, it's pretty obvious. My conversation with my consumers is pretty obvious. I know what I want to say to them. And I do it through omni-channels, through the SMS system or through WhatsApp or what have you. And ultimately, the idea, again, in the spirit of saving time, is to get the alignment of a consumer saying, hey, Joe, let's talk. I'm interested in talking today, tomorrow. And I know that we all love to look at feeds. We all love to look at the Facebook walls. We all love to look at, basically all of the social trends, because it just gives us this excitement and dopamine. And we're going to replicate that excitement juice inside a work environment, inside a sales hunt environment. So try to visualize you getting into a platform that just shows you what the client said in the last 5 minutes. And if you see someone that says, hey, I'm super excited to talk to you tomorrow, then all of a sudden you have a connection. And that's kind of like a technology we're going to put in part of our omni-channel initiative.
Well, like I said at the very beginning of the podcast, it's hard to believe we're already heading directly into March, and only seems a few moments ago we were celebrating the new year. But what's next for SetSchedule? Is there anything else you can share about the road ahead?
Well, sure, Neil, since you asked. Well, first off, we want to make sure that we can partner with Bezos or with Musk and make sure that there's communication system in March, so we can actually start building businesses and have all of the technology from sales hunt to everything to consumers inside, on top of March. But all kidding aside, actually, we're very much interested in expanding the offering to the UK and Canada. Those are the couple of things that we're looking into very seriously, because those are very parallel markets that are very exciting to us. We see the real estate space, especially the residential real estate space, and the real estate consumers, the buyers and the sellers and the renters. We see them being very hungry for new technologies and ways to get to the end results without picking up the phone and talking necessarily. So if we can provide them with constant flow of data and communication through different means, I think the millennials and the next generations are going to be more receptive to technology, tech communications versus, the old-fashioned phone call. So we're putting a lot of effort into the Set Omni system, which would basically revolves around the multi-channel Omni sales hunt communications. We're going to put a lot of focus into a much more robust Set Hello virtual and video audio conferencing systems. And we are rolling out pretty soon the SetSchedule core app, which will expand what we now offer as a referral radar to licensed real estate agents and teams, to basically all of the brothers and sisters industries that actually support this nucleus real estate transaction. So a real estate transaction obviously supports mortgage and supports title officers, construction workers, movers, etc. We're going to address all of them through one single app.
Excellent. And for anyone listening that would like to find out more information about how you can help people save time with technology at SetSchedule, what's the best way of finding you online, and equally contacting your team if they are left with any questions?
So if you are a pro and you believe that you can benefit from the pro product environment, go to setschedule.com. I mean, heck, go to setschedule.com regardless. You'll know how to go to the consumer-related product. The best consumer-related product we have is setvalue.com. But again, it's accessible to setschedule.com. And if you have any technical questions, our team is always available at 888-222-0011. That's 888-222-0011. And now I sound like a commercial.
Well, thank you so much for spending a bit of time with me today and talking about your story and sharing how we can save time through technology, as also along with the new developments in the real estate industry too. There's so many exciting developments around prop tech at the moment. So it'd be great to stay in touch with you. And if you've got any other big announcements or trends that you're noticing, it'd be great to get you back on later in the year. And the way it's moving at the moment, that'll probably feel like a couple of weeks away. But more than anything, just thanks for coming on and sharing your story with me today, Roy.
Thank you, Neil. We will definitely speak soon.
A big thank you to Roy for sharing his story with me today, and also talking about the application of artificial intelligence and machine learning software in real estate and how it could affect that entire industry moving forward. But as you all know, I do love a good human story too. So it was great hearing about his experience creating a company with the goal of using innovative technology and cutting edge tools to disrupt an entire retail estate industry by maximising efficiency for both real estate agents and for home shoppers too. But if you're in the world of prop tech and you'd like to share your story, or you've got any comments about today's conversation, or if you have uncovered the secrets of how to slow down time, whatever it is, please email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com. You get me on Twitter, LinkedIn, etc. at Neil C. Hughes. And my website is techblogwriter.co.uk. And finally, a very big warm welcome to the additional listeners that we've picked up. There's been a big spike in listenership throughout February, and a big warm welcome to you all. When I say contact me at the end of every episode, I do genuinely mean it, and I would love to connect with you all. So a big thank you for choosing to listen to this podcast. I'll return again tomorrow, and until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.